Right, you two fuck off. Every time I put the camera on, they get clever. Right. All right, boys and girls, today we are going to show you the old green truck. It has been here for, I said to the customer, it'll be a few months, as in 2 to 3, 4 maybe. It's been here the best part of a year. So I'm going to show you everything we did on it, and I'm going to show you where it's ended up. The boys are just going to go and spin it round so we can see exactly what we're doing. But I'm going to show you that customer is actually bringing us another old truck to do. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for him to pick that one up and bring his other one in a couple of days, we are going to do a little walk around of this truck, which is one we are overhauling, and it is going onto a brand new chassis cab. So we've got a brand new truck from the main dealer, and it's in the yard. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this body brand new. It's off a 10 or 12-year-old truck. We're going to repin it, rebush it. We're going to do the rams. We've took the easy sheet off and we're going to go through, and I'm just going to give a little quick walk around just before we look at the old truck, just to give you an idea of exactly what we're going to be doing to this one. So the first part of any sort of like job like this is get the arms over, get everything stripped down and have a look what we're dealing with. Stuff like this, we're going to put a bit of welding there and then we're going to flap it off and just see what we come up with. The rams, as you will see here, are in need of new rods because I mean, listen, this could be used, you know, but it has got a slight bend in that. If you can see it, slight bend down. That's when people like use the arms to push on skips and stuff. But if you look at that arm, that ram is like that. So that is going to need a new rod. Definitely going to need a new rod, and probably you can see there all the marks, and probably in there. Let's go and have a look at that. Yeah, if you look down that ram, look, it's like a banana. I'm surprised it's lasted so long, and we've got a slight weep around here, if you look. So the customer has asked basically for a full overhaul of everything. So we're going to be looking at any pipes that want changing, you know, any tidying up we can do. What you've got to remember is a brand new skip body like this, if you was to buy it from a main dealer, probably cost you, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 grand. My mate got a body from Harsh not so long ago, and it cost him 60,000 quid for a brand new one. So to take, you know, a body off and fully overhaul it, and what we'll be, you know, we are going to be doing is, and we've been doing drawings as we go on. So we've been, you know, like these steps, they'll be replaced. These plates will be replaced. Where somebody's done a repair on there at some point, we'll do them so they're done properly. We'll drill and tap them so it's the same as the other side. At the minute, we're just taking the bulk of the paint off just to see what we're dealing with. And then anything that we can't do, we can always whip it down to the sandblaster and let him get into the little parts that are difficult to get into. The reason we, you know, choose to flat things here rather than just send it to a sandblaster is because as we're doing it, we want to be looking at what we're dealing with all the time. Like I say, that ram, look at that on the other side. It's mental. So, you know, all this sort of stuff, when we strip these rams down, what we will do, we'll make 2 new rods, more than likely. And if you've got a leak around the gland, you probably need a new set of seals or, you know, minimum a gland. So that is, you know, where this is, you know, we're at the beginning stages of this, really. I mean, we've had a few weeks into it. We've done some work underneath. You know, we're not a million miles off getting the rams off, and what we'll do is we'll paint the full truck. We're going to take the arms off here, and we will paint the full truck whilst we are making the rams, and then we'll just hang the rams upside down, paint them, leave them, you know, 3 or 4 days, and then stick them on the truck. This job is not going to be a long job compared to the old truck, because the chassis cab we've got for this to actually go onto is the exact same wheelbase and everything. The main dealer has sent it without a pump on it, so we're going to have to do a little bit of work on the PTO, which I will show you the truck now. This is the brand new truck that it's going to be going on to, and this is a 260 brake horsepower DAF, I'm assuming. It's an XB. It's not one I've seen before, but, you know, I ain't got the money to buy one of these, unfortunately. I'd love to have one. But let's go over and have a look at the old truck. And here she is. This isn't going to be, you know, the usual, I don't know how to put it, the usual video where I take it to a nice location and walk around it and everything. Unfortunately, the man's going to pick this up very shortly. So we're just going to have to make do with what we've got here. What I'm going to do is, while watching the video, I'm going to put a few little snippets of the work we've done. So when this truck came to us, it was probably out here in length. It was a long wheelbase truck. It was probably a box truck or something like that. I'll put pictures on the screen of what we did, but basically we cut the chassis down and we shortened and balanced the prop so she can be driven on the road. We found the original, you know, backlights that come off these trucks, the old style ones, and we got the old, you know, side markers. We did, you know, attention to detail. This floor on the truck has actually been done twice. So we did it once, and the floor was just, it just wasn't flat enough to, you know, to pass. I know it's an old truck, I know it's been well used, but at the same time, it has to be, you know, an half decent standard, you know, even though she's had 40 years of use. We remade these plates, and it come out absolutely bang on, really. I mean, for the age of the truck. Remember, also, this truck has had new rods and glands, so we've rebuilt those, and seals. And if you remember, also, we had a problem with the PTO. So we had to rebuild the pump and the PTO and get all that working. And then the cab itself, you know, it come out really nice. You know, I can't really knock it in terms of, you know, how we've got it from where she started off. And it'll be, you know, it'll be a, what's the word? It'll be a credit to its owner. We've enjoyed doing it, but I'll be honest, it was a lot more work than I planned for in the time scale that we kind of, not had it, but, you know, I thought a couple of months work, and it turned out, you know, to be massive jobs. I mean, we build rams every day. You know, there's a set of rams there that we're resealing for somebody. You know, we do them every day, but this one was, you know, particularly a long job. You know, when we got it here, it was a full paint job, 2 new rams, you know, PTO wouldn't engage, hydraulic pump needed fully rebuilding. It had a smashed shaft and we couldn't get the shaft, you know, off the shelf. We had to do all the electrical work. We had to do the compressor for the air. So adjust everything, you know, all the air systems, so the brake's still working. There was so much to do. There was also like a little check valve on there, which, because this was, I think it was a tipper actually, not a box fan. But because it was a tipper, we had to make it all work as a skip truck. So it was a little bit of, you know, backwards and forwards to get it where it wants to be. But yeah, I hope you like that, and it gives you an idea of, you know, what we can do. If you boys and girls are in the market for us to do a job like this, you know, we can certainly do one for you. You know, like I say, we do go the extra mile. We've painted it inside and out. I mean, on a truck of this age, you know, you just sort of kind of do your best, because there's a what's the word for it? There's a limit to how far you can go, you know, where it just becomes ridiculously priced. You know, you spend thousands and thousands of hours on stuff like this. You know, this truck will go out and work if it needed to. And I'm more than happy with how it's turned out. So if you guys need something doing that's, you know, unusual, or something nobody else can do, or something somebody else doesn't want to do, you know, give us a shout. We like the stuff that's a bit out the ordinary. And I like to think that there's not many people, you know, who do skips and skip trucks that can do what we can do. I'm sure there's people who can do a PTO, absolutely. There's somebody who can do paint. But, you know, we try and do it all here. We've got a big paint shop there, so we can do the, you know, big paint jobs on trucks and stuff like that. And then obviously we've got the other workshop where we do all the hydraulic stuff. So, you know, we are well set up. So if you need anything doing, give me a shout. I'll be more than happy to talk to you, and I'll see you all soon. Sun's out, so we should be earning a couple of quid, hopefully. I hope you are too, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.